The St. Thomas Aquinas Weekly Update, where we connect you to the parish community as you experience the presence of Christ.
Hey y'all, this is Leilani Freitas with the STA Weekly Update. I'm joined by Brandon Barker, Isabel Keith, and Evan Swindle. It is the week of July 21st, and there's so much happening, and we can't wait to tell you. But we are going to start with a fun fact. Evan, what do you have for us this week?
This is a cool one. Not about STA, but about the Diocese of Dallas. And I want to know, do y'all have an answer to how many parish communities, and there's 2 parts as the bonus points, how many Catholics are in the Diocese of Dallas?
I don't even know how far the diocese
I
goes.
just learned.
What's happening.
In my brain. I know it's
I
really
believe it's
big.
like 9 counties. I think it's 9 counties and
10 churches per county. My guess is 90.
the last I heard it was 77.
I have no idea.
But
I don't know.
But I also know that we're growing.
Right.
So 90.
All right, so here's the answer. We have 78 parish communities
okay.
around the
78.
diocese.
You were close.
But how many Catholics do we have? We, like you said, we are growing. And all of California came to Dallas, too.
So true.
I mean, never mind. Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah.
1 million?
No, at least part of California
yeah.
absolutely has made their way into Texas.
I mean, it has to be in the million, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.3 million. Imagine.
Wow.
And
We're
counting.
close.
And counting. And so pray for Bishop Burns and all of our priests that
Yeah.
shepherd and guide us for this
Yeah.
diocese.
You know, my count on that is it's 1.3 million, but that's not enough, right?
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that still have not heard about Christ and his love and him being present and the Blessed Sacrament. And so there are so many that are still searching and seeking Christ in the church. And so there's still a lot of work to do, a lot of people that need to hear, not just need to hear, but need to see Christ's presence in this world. And he does so primarily through his people.
Walking with every person we encounter.
Yes.
That is our promise here at STA. And we do a great job and strive to do a better job at doing that.
Yeah.
So
Always growing, always onward. On Monday, we are celebrating the feast of St. Mary Magdalene. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a great saint to look to. I think she shows a lot of humility in how she serves Christ and loves him. And so that's always a good example of how we can grow to be saints. But what is happening on Tuesday?
That's
Isabel?
such a great way to start off the week. On Tuesday, we'll have confessions from 9 to 10 a.m. and then we'll have Mass at 6:15. So we hope y'all join us.
yeah, Wednesday we will have our daily mass again at noon. And on Thursday we will have the men's prayer group early in the morning at 6:30. Mass at 8 a.m. and confessions later in the evening at 5 to 6. And again, just remember these masses and confessions. Check the website because more than likely they will be in St. Anne's.
Good note.
Nice.
Brandon.
Friday.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is happening on Friday? We can't forget about Friday
Yeah.
because we are celebrating another feast day. Do you know it, Brandon?
I do. And it's mainly because it's my daughter. So my first child, it's her birthday.
Oh,
and so,
that's
you know,
awesome.
You
it's-
have all these great dates.
And that's a whole nother story that I'll have to share at some point in time because it's God and Our Lady, and I mean all of my kids' birthdays like were on some sort of like major feast day that was associated
Wow.
with Our Lady. So,
Yeah.
But
anyway,
who are we
That's
celebrating
one of
on
them.
this
So yeah,
day?
so one of them is the Jesus's grandparents,
Oh,
You know? Feast of Saint Anne and Saint Joachim.
Mary's
Oh, okay.
parents?
Mary's
or Joseph?
parents.
Mary's parents.
Wow.
So it's Mary's parents.
Okay.
And that's a good question. Yeah, Mary's parents, and so Jesus' grandparents. So the Feast of St. Anne and St. Joachim that we celebrate. And so we'll have Mass Friday at 8 a.m. to celebrate that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Saturday and Sunday, there's Saturday, there's our normal confession times. And then Sunday, the liturgies, having Saturday evening and Sunday as well. So that's what's going on this week at St. Thomas Aquinas. Again, highlights. There's other things that by checking the bulletin, checking the calendar online, and just kind of being tapped in. If you haven't signed up for the monthly newsletter or just the weekly, daily flock notes that get sent out by the different ministries, the different organizations, there's always so much that's going on here around the parish. But we highlight each week just a handful of things that are that are on the calendar here at St. Thomas Aquinas. This last part is where we typically highlight a ministry, and this is the last week that we're highlighting kind of the core values, not kind of, but the core values here at St. Thomas Aquinas that really pulls from Acts 2:42 and what the early Christian community, what they did. And this one is forming believers in truth. And so in Acts, it talks about sitting, listening to the teaching of the apostles. And so that's what the forming believers in truth, the Catholic Church is the pillar and the bulwark of the truth. And what we do here is we invest in leadership who form and help disciple one another. So forming believers in the truth help us to more deeply connect with the love of God. And so that's ultimately what we're doing. Like, that's where it's moving towards. Why the formation? Well, it's that whole know him, love him, serve him. And so like by knowing him in his church, then that's how we get to love him more. And so when we love someone, we want to get to know them. And so it's, we think about, a spouse or maybe someone that we're really invested in, and we want to spend time with that person. We want to get to know them. And it's, I've talked to my wife before about asking her about her favorite color, and she's like, what? Who cares? And it's like, I love you and I want to get to know you better. And so it may be trivial to most people what someone's favorite color is, but like when you love someone, you want to get to know them better. And so certain things that it's like, what do I need to do that for? Well, that's where, there are foundational pieces that, we have in the faith. There's all these, our family history is thousands of years old. And so there's so much to learn about the people of God and the family of God. And the more we get to know about his people and his movement and intersection in their lives. And that's what's cool about the Bible is, or reading the lives of the saints. It's their encounter with God. So we're getting to read their encounter with God, or like, we read in the Old Testament, it's the people of God and their encounter with him, and we're reading their stories, just like we're all having our own stories now. And so if we were to write down those stories, so our lives are intersecting with their encounters, and it's part of our encounter with God. And so it's just kind of cool how it all works.
Everything leads to God, hopefully.
Properly understood and properly done.
Yes.
He is the source and the summit. He's the source, but everything's got to return to him, because if not, then we're making something else an end instead of a means to him. So yeah, you're right. And that's something as Catholics we're guilty of very often, is sometimes without knowing so, we make these different devotions or some of these things that we do the end instead of making it part of
the means to get to him. Yeah. So how do we share this core value at St. Thomas Aquinas? What are some ways that we're living that out?
We're actually like doing, just a big picture through like Mass, right? And we talked about, like the corporate worship and the communal worship. That's primarily how people are being formed by like what we're doing, like our actions, right? And being the people of God. And then there's so many different opportunities to, to serve or to learn. But as far as from a catechetical, like a teaching, between the Bible studies and the family formation and the different group studies and the speaker series and the young adult ministries and the retreats that we have coming up, the different stuff with marriage ministry. There's just such a wide variety of opportunities to grow in our understanding of the faith collectively, and then individually what's happening. Well, there's lots of stuff that's not on the calendar. When you pick up and read your Bible at the house, or you start reading through the catechism, that's not on the calendar, but that's like a way to be the believers being formed in truth. And so there's the stuff that we do that's on the calendar that we're doing, officially. And then there's all the stuff that we're doing and we're taking our own time to do, because sometimes it's like, man, well, what if it's not on the calendar? Well, the church needs to be the church, right? So if someone's reading a book out there and you want to invite some of your buddies to talk about it, man, that's the church forming one another in truth. And so the things that we do here, it's ultimately meant to spark and get the fire going, fan the flame, so that the church is just the church. And the vast majority of what we do is not on the calendar. It's just who we are, and it's what we do.
Yeah. And if you're looking for a spark to spark the spark, I know that y'all can sign up for our ministry registration for 2024 to 2025, and that begins September 8th. And I know that these are the calendar events, but we all need to start somewhere. Amen. And we do provide that first step for you here at St. Thomas. So the young adult retreat, 21 to 35-year-olds, y'all are welcome for this, to come to this, to join us. That is August 31st through September 1st. Signups are still live. Next Step starts September 9th, and then Grounded starts September 4th. So y'all are so invited to every one of those. I know those are for different life stages, so figure out which life stage you're in and sign up there.
Do you know the one that's for all life stages? Starts with M and ends with
S.
Yeah, S. That's better.
Mass.
Yeah.
And you're invited to
Invited.
that as well.
Bring a friend.
But let's wrap it up, guys. That was a good one.
All right.
Yeah.
When do y'all want to wrap us up? All right, landing the plane. Here we go. St. Thomas Aquinas family, remember that one day, one step at a time, like that God's going to make saints out of us. If we respond to his grace, keep persevering, we'll spend eternity with him and inspire countless others to do the same. So we are walking here at St. Thomas Aquinas with every person that we encounter to experience the presence of Christ. Know that we are praying for you all, ask for your prayers too, and we will see you next week. I'm Brandon Barker, Leilani Freitas, Evan Swindle, and Isabel Keith coming at you. We'll see you next week. Godspeed.
You've been listening to the St. Thomas Aquinas Weekly Update. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram at STA Dallas and visit the website at www.stadallas.org.